Good day to you and welcome to another interesting edition of your regular program, Business and Economy. I am Ile Emeche. Development experts have acknowledged that the economic policies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration are beginning to yield positive results on the nation's economy, meaning that the economy of Nigeria is performing at maximal level. As recently, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, announced that the nation's gross domestic product, which is the GDP, has grown by 3.19% in the second quarter of year 2023 in real terms, and that the growth rate is higher than the 2.51% recorded in the second quarter of 2023, noting that the first quarter of 2024 grew by 2.98%. Meanwhile, this has raised a lot of arguments across quarters on the Nigerian economy, as so many people, a lot of Nigerians are of the opinion on whether the economic performance is reflecting in the living standard of citizens, considering the major policies of the government. That will be our focus on today's edition of your regular program, Business and Economy. On this edition, economic analyst Dr. Tunde Ogunsola is my guest and will be joining us immediately after the business news to discuss on the topic, the state of the Nigerian nation. We'll be right back.
Represented by the Director of Public Relations Department of the SON, Mrs. Folusho Bolaji, at the event in Abuja, the Director General of the Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, Dr. Ifeanyi Okeke, says the digital initiatives are designed to supporting local production and trade according to international best practices. While reiterating significant progress of the organization's commitment to the digitalization initiative, the Director General affirmed efforts of the organization on its mandate through adequate verification and certification of standards on imported products as well as Nigerian-made products for the good of all citizens. Dr. Okeke highlighted positive results of the organization to the recent commendation by the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council in its 2024 half-year Transparency and Excellency Compliance Report, where the agency was ranked second position among 20 ministries, departments and agencies for transparency in service delivery. He further urged participants, including members of the SECON, to use the training opportunity to, among others, deepen their understanding of the SON Act 2015, thereby helping the public to better appreciate the role of the SON in their regulatory framework. The training session aims at stimulating industry correspondents' understanding of the SON activities and equip them with the necessary tools and knowledge to reporting accurately on the organization's initiatives. Ile Emeche, ASO Television News.
You are on to your regular program, Business and Economy, and today we have Dr. Tunde Ogunsola, who is an economic expert, and he will be taking us on the state of the Nigerian nation vis-a-vis the economic parameters. Dr. Ogunsola, you are welcome to this edition of the program.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here again.
And somebody will ask you, how is Nigeria and the economy?
Yeah, Nigeria is trying to breathe. You know, the president said, let the poor breathe.
Yeah.
So I think he's trying to release the oxygen small, so that the poor can breathe.
Okay. Okay. Again, we appreciate if you can go deeper on your general assessment of the state of the Nigerian economy.
All right. The state of the Nigerian economy is actually, you know, trying to, you know, an economy that you want to jumpstart.
Yeah.
You know, when you try to start a car and the car is just doing like choo, it wants to start.
From gear 1 to 2 to 1, the rest.
So at least there is hope that the car will start. Because it's making some sound as if it wants to start.
Yeah.
So that's the situation the economy is. We are seeing some signs that the economy is going to bounce back, you know, but we are not yet feeling it yet. It's just signs yet. We've not started getting the feelings but we started seeing the signs.
In other words, you are telling us to be optimistic that
Yes.
the economy will kick off
Exactly.
to the benefit of all Nigerians.
Very soon. The economy will kick off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, an appraisal of the nation's economy will not be complete without reference to the various policies of the government. That is, beginning from the recent GDP growth rate, which the MBS came up to announce that the economy performed to 3.19% in the second quarter of year 2024. The recent protest against bad governance, the impact of diaspora remittances, the unending queues, fuel queues in Nigeria, and expectations from the operations of the Dangote refinery, and we are going to be taking them one after the other on this program. When the president announced the introduction of the student loan, it raised an argument across quarters whether the program is capable of addressing the funding problems of Nigerian students. How would you react to this?
The student loan, well, we actually help. At least people can subscribe and find themselves in the world of the, higher institutions.
Yeah.
So it will actually help. But the problem is that we just pray that this student loan don't create another problem. The problem of paying back. That's where the fear is. The government have said, okay, when they finish their youth service corps, and maybe I think 3 years or 2 years into when they start working, that's when they'll start deducting the money. The question is, how many Nigerian youth that's finished NYSC has actually gotten job? We need that statistics so that we can use that to judge. Some persons are just trying to survive, doing some menial jobs out there to see that they survive. They are trying to learn, some skill. And the irony of it, some of them have not even balanced. And possibly, let's say they have, got their BVN, and then they said, this is just 3 years after he has been supposed to start paying. And the person starts seeing debit alerts from his account, from the little menial job that he's actually doing. So that's where we'll have problem in future. It will actually bring some issues when we get there. But for now, to borrow money is very easy and very, it's sweet that time.
As if somebody is just
borrow me
dashing you money.
You just borrow you and then you solve your problem and just relax. The problem is solved. But when it is time to pay back, you begin to pay back through your nose, and then you now know that, wow, this thing wasn't easy, like the way we saw it when we were taking the loans. So, so for now, yes, a number of students have actually benefited. They are paying the monies directly to the universities, because they do the application also through that means, and a number of people are getting the loans, straight up. So that's fine, but let's see what happens later, and that will actually affect that scheme, because it's supposed to be a revolving loan, kind of, but government will begin to pump money into that. So some persons have argued that that loan is supposed to be a grant, because there are no good jobs. Let's say, for example, now a graduate that just graduated, let's say with the minimum wage that has been increased, the graduate will be taking like 120 or 100,000. So how will they be able to pay back loan that they took for 4 years? Because this loan will be available from 100 level, 200 level, like that, up to the final year. So how will they be able to pay back the chunk of this money? Though they said it's interest free. Zero interest, but the capital itself is going to be a chunk because the school fees are not cheap now. So that's just what we'll see. But for now, government seems to be solving a problem.
Yeah, I think the children of the poor can now access this loan and obtain at least education certificates and qualification, as the case may be, given the introduction of this student loan. However, don't you also think that the government has put in place maybe plans for the repayment, for repaying the loan?
The plan that they've put in place, that they've said, except if there's another plan we don't know about, is that when they graduate and they finish NYSC, that 2 years after that, after the NYSC, they begin to deduct the money from their account.
Can we be wrong to say that the government also have plan to employ these people, or plans to create more employment generating opportunities in order to generate, because we have had this problem over the years where people will come up with fantastic idea, fantastic proposal to obtain loan, and at the end of it, a repayment program will be, initiative will become a major problem.
Of course.
And most of the time, if not all, the loan may run to bad debt.
Of course.
So don't we also think that the government has also established some institutional framework, especially as it has to do with the provision of employment generating opportunities for these our youths in order to get the money back or lose it?
If government has such plans, they should start implementing it now. It's not a plan that you will keep and say in the next 4 years when they're about leaving office in the first time, or a plan you say we'll create 1 million jobs in 2026. You know, we need to start, you know, that such plans should be put in place now, so that even those that are, you know, finishing now that they didn't take loan, let them start benefiting from these job opportunities. Over the years, we've not seen how government has created jobs. The last administration said they're going to employ, is it 10,000 people into police or so every year? I don't think that came to reality. They said they're going to draw how many millions of persons out of poverty over a period of 10 years. They have done 8 years now, the 9th year, APC continuing. We've not seen such sign. What we see is that things are getting, you know, it's actually nosediving. Things are getting more worse. People are laying off workers because the economic situation is not so conducive to do business. Some businesses are shutting down. So that's what we are seeing. And some persons are losing jobs. So the situation now cannot really give us that hope that, okay, government will create jobs, that these people, they will get jobs and they will be able to pay back. We can't really bank on that, you know, the way the economy is now.
And another concern raised by some persons has to do with the ability to access the loan, the student loan, by eligible people, the beneficiary, that is the students or students to be. How do you think the accessibility of this loan?
Yeah, there are criteria. There are, you know, criteria laid down by the board, and so far so good. From the disbursement they've done so far, we've seen these loans go to people that actually needed those funds. So far. I don't know. Maybe they may spoil it. You know, maybe disruptions or something. Disruptions or connections, powers that be will say, okay, no, give it to these people. Don't answer those people. You know, but so far so good. It's been going well. You know, people have been tested. Not just that we are seeing on paper, people have testified that they actually got the loan.
All right. Doctor, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, from our introduction, you heard me when I mentioned it in our introduction that the quarterly GDP report released by the National Bureau of Statistics indicated that the nation's economy grew by 3.19% in real terms during the second quarter of 2024. What is the impact of this GDP to an ordinary Nigerian?
Yeah, it is because of this GDP that I actually said we've seen signs that the economy wants to jumpstart. It's going to pick up. You know, these are the signs we see. We've seen signs that the GDP is growing. We've also gotten a sign that inflation dropped a little after about more than a year. Yeah. You know, so it's actually a sign. So it's not as if we are there. We may not begin to feel the impact of this immediately. You know, it's just like somebody that is dying, and then doctor is trying to revive that patient, and all of a sudden you saw the patient, you know, shake the hands. You know, it means there's hope that this person is still alive. He's not dead. But it's not as if the person can walk now or can stand up and start running. No, but at least there's hope that this is not going to die. It's coming back alive. So that's just the situation of the economy. We've seen the signs. GDP growing is a sign. It shows that we've actually produced, you know, in some sectors of the economy over the first and the second quarter, and that's why we see that GDP increasing. GDP is gross domestic product. Yeah. So, and it actually indicates level of production in the economy, you know, rather than as to the level of consumption. And there is a formula in economics that is used to determine the GDP. We talk about the, you know, the consumer, the government expenditures, you know, investment and savings and all that.
Okay, so I remember C plus G plus I equals to GDP in school.
So there are indicators that determines, you know, the gross domestic product. Gross is just average of product that we have been able to produce
within the period.
Within that period. So we are seeing more production, but the challenge is the production is coming up at what price?
That is the question I'm coming to ask you.
For this product.
If the production has increased, all things being equal according to economists, the prices of goods and services should also correspond with the level of production. The question the people are asking is, how are we feeling it? Is it that the GDP growth of 3.19% in the second quarter of year 2024 is on pen and paper, or is it propaganda? What should we expect from the growth of this GDP? So what would be your advice to this group of persons? I'm sure a lot of them are following us on the program.
Yeah, and that's why I said these are signs that the economy is going to pick up. The economy has not picked up, but we have seen signs that it's trying to wake up. So that's why I'm analyzing it that way. So these indicators have just shown that the policies of government around these, you know, indicators are actually positive with relation to these little signs that we are seeing for inflation to at least drop. First time in over 15 months, I mean 18 months. First time inflation dropped. You know, we are also seeing GDP growing. We are seeing the exchange rates for the last 1 month. I think it has been stable at 1,600 on the average.
Yeah, 1,595, 1,600.
Coming down to 1,300 and fluctuating. It's been somehow stable, and people can actually plan with 1,600. You know, it will just go up a little and come down. You know, so it means that those policies around all this are actually kind of positively impacting the economy, not in a sharp way, but very mild way. So we still need to review these policies again, or probably sustain it again for another 1 or 2 months. Let's sustain the policies. Let's see how taxes can, you know, a little bit reduce, especially multiple taxes, so that people don't need to spend so much to get, you know, the few goods or products that has been produced over the period.
Still on the GDP, how would you react to some concerns raised by especially those at the grassroots, saying that the GDP has improved because we are in the harvest season, that after this season, the gross domestic product is likely to drop? How will you react to that?
Yeah, the season of harvest is still continuing. The harvest season has not passed. In fact, we are just trying to enter the main harvest season. When we begin to enter the ember months, just like we're September now, we go to October and November. That's December. The harvest season. So harvest season just started. So their own corroboration or their own fact will become more true by the time the harvest increase again, maybe in September, harvest again coming in October. Then it means that production will also increase. That means we are producing food now, especially the food. So we're expecting to see the food inflation dropping. But if the government expenditures, the amount of money in circulation, then also the printing of the naira continues, the prices of these products will not drop. So there are other policies. Yes, harvest may come. Yes, we may have more products to actually
but the money
sell.
Supply too is a factor.
Money supply is a factor. If you have too much money in circulation chasing these goods, then also we now also see people hoarding this product, artificial scarcity, so that they will, you know, make the money to go up and all that. So government also need to prepare to also supply some of this harvest into the market in order to crash down the prices, you know, instead of chasing them and say they must fix the prices. I think government needs to do something about supply. Yes, government also said they are going to open the borders to ensure that, you know, food comes in order to crash down the food inflation and also the price of food. So these are the policies I'm talking about, that they are giving us signs that things, you know, will begin to, you know, get better. So there is actually hope with the way the economy is going.
Okay. Another factor to consider when you are measuring the performance of any economy in the world is their diaspora remittances. What can you say about our diaspora remittances in the first half of year 2024?
Yeah, I saw the report on the diaspora remittances, and I think I came to a conclusion that the diaspora remittances increased all-time highest. You know, I think about $500 and something million for that period that they measured. And then we came to a conclusion because diaspora remittance increase has a relationship with the exchange rate. The higher the exchange rate, that's the higher the exchange rate between the naira and the dollar, the higher the
diaspora remittances.
That's why, because
positively correlated.
Yeah,
kind
because
of.
people outside the country wants to take advantage. If I have $1 today, if I send it to Nigeria, that's 1,600 naira. So people are, you know, Nigerians outside the country are actually sending money home for their people to invest for them, or to also support their people, because many people here are crying of hunger and all sorts of that. There's no money. So people outside the country are sending in money to support their people in Nigeria. So that's how these remittances are coming in. But once we see the naira exchange rates dropping, let's say maybe it comes down to 1,200, we'll also see that diaspora remittances will also reduce. So there is a positive relationship between the both of them. So now we are having good or very high diaspora remittance, which is good for us, but we also need to work on the exchange rate. We don't want the exchange rate to continue to go up, but we actually want it to come down. So by the time the exchange rate begins to drop, we would like to also see that diaspora remittances will also drop a little.
But someone asked me behind the scene that when we talk about, when we got that report on diaspora remittances about the increase on the level of the diaspora remittances, someone asked me that assuming I don't have, or she does not have anybody abroad to send some dollars to her, how will this impact her life? That isn't it the government that will be making some revenue, or what is it? So I want to throw the same question to you.
Yeah, it impacts everyone, not just individually, because diaspora remittances is making government to have more revenue in dollars, especially for the accounts, you know, that we actually keep our reserve.
Yeah.
So we have more dollars to defend the naira. Now we have more dollars to issue to the banks at a lower rate, so that the exchange rate will come down. So if the exchange rate is coming down, how does it affect the common man? Yes, they will begin to get things cheaper. You know, the value of the naira, somebody say, how much is money? The value of the naira will begin to increase. How much is naira to the dollar determines the power of what the naira can actually purchase. So we want to see the dollar dropping. So the more dollars that the federal government earn, either through diaspora remittances or sale of crude oil or sale of gas, will also help us to defend our naira. It means that we are now earning. It means that we are now productive somehow, you know, and then Nigeria is making more money. So it helps the government to have more money to defend the naira, to carry out more projects, to have more money to release for projects, and then we'll have more money in circulation. So it actually has a positive impact, but indirectly, not directly on the citizens of the country.
But again, apart from the remittances, is there nothing the government can do to improve our export base so as to increase our foreign exchange earnings, apart from the diaspora remittances? Just like you explained, that if you begin to see that the dollar rate is decreasing, is coming down, slowing down, the diaspora rate level will also come down. But again, for the benefit of naira valuation and other things that may come around it, don't you think there's something the government can do to improve our export base in order to increase our foreign exchange earnings?
All right. For the export base, our export has been low compared to the level of imports. We're talking about balance of trade here, and, you know, trade with other nations. But I think there are a lot of export that are actually done through the Nigerian borders, not through ship or air now. Talking about the land borders, that does not enter the statistics that we are using to determine the exports. We've seen a lot of cassava from Nigeria finding their way out of the shores of the country and then, you know, going out. But I don't know how that was, you know, input into the statistics of the level of export we have. We've seen even wood. I'm talking of the trees now that they fell and, you know, you know, cut it into wood. You see our Nigerian wood finding their ways out of the country. There was a time I saw a video of trailers of wood, you know,
leaving the country.
Leaving the country. Somebody just posted it on the social media. You know, so a lot of other foodstuff, Nigerian foodstuff, also are being exported. There was a time I even advised government that they should somehow ban export of some food items. When we started seeing food inflation going up, they say we don't have food, shortage of supply. I said, we don't have food, but people are exporting. We are seeing Nigerian gari in UK. We are seeing Nigerian cassava in China. We are seeing our ogbono and the rest. Yeah. We have seen them outside the country.
Someone said,
they take it outside the country. So all those foodstuff, do they actually account for them when they come to export statistics? Even our yam.
And the answer may be no.
Some people export our yam, despite that they say the Nigerian yam usually spoil.
And it's being rejected.
It's being rejected. But we still see some of this yam finding their ways out of the country. So these are the issues. Government needs to harmonize the data. All the land,
the informal trade and the informal export.
Exactly. Those informal exports, you know, we need to take statistics of them. However, the main export now, Nigeria is exporting gas to Japan and China. Nigeria is exporting crude oil to other countries. And these are the avenues that, you know, gives us the dollars that we're actually looking for. So the export is there, but we need to produce more for us to meet local consumption before we talk about exporting. Now, Nigeria is struggling to even meet $450 per barrel of crude oil to local refineries. They are just pushing here and there because the level of production is not enough to meet both the local needs and the export demands. So production needs to still increase. When production increases very well, we can have enough and also have enough to also export.
Recently, just today, this morning, the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, the minister, Dr. Alake, announced the arrest of some illegal miners. If we are talking about export, we should also look at the mining sector, the minerals resources that we have in Nigeria. And you will agree with me that there is hardly any state of the Federation that does not have at least one mineral resources. But again, you see illegal miners from other countries of the world coming here to mine and then transport them back to their countries and send them back to us in another form with high prices placed on them. What would be your advice to the government on this? Because if we can develop our mining sector to the capacity that it should be, I want to believe that that sector can overtake the oil sector.
Of course, I've also advised government to convert the Ministry of Solid Minerals into a revenue-generating ministry.
Solid mineral.
Yes, not just petroleum and
regulatory
and all that.
Yeah.
So, Ministry of Solid Minerals should also be a revenue-generating ministry because solid minerals, numerous, you know, in Nigeria, are being mined and traded. Some are traded legally. Some are traded illegally. This even form part of the export I'm talking about. Now,
the informal exports.
Yeah. Do we have statistics of this, you know, trading of mineral resources in Nigeria? How many gold has Nigeria exported from Nigeria to other countries within the last 6 months?
Do we have the data?
That's what I'm saying. But that doesn't mean that we have not been exporting. That's what we call illegal mining and trading. So government needs to find a way to continue to curb this illegal mining. But however, there is no way, I think there's an adage, I've been trying to put it in my head, that there is no way, if there is no thief inside, the thief outside cannot come in.
Okay, somebody have to lead somebody to come and steal something from. Nobody can enter your own compound or your family except
somebody
an insider.
Giving them that, okay, just put it back. You know, so government needs to still work on intelligence. Intelligence will be very, very good to help government in curbing this illegal mining and the insecurity around these mining activities. Very, very important.
Someone suggested the use of drone. Will it be of help to curb the illegal mining, illegal exports, and the insecurity around Nigeria?
Well, I think from even the adage I tried to put up now,
I'm sure you remember it before we end the program.
I think even drone might not work.
Why?
You know
because
why?
of human
there's an
interaction.
insider that does not want these security things to work because he has what he wants to gain. So if there's, even as you are planning that drone, that insider is there. Okay, look at, for example, I think I was watching the news yesterday. I think Mr. Falana was talking on a program, and he was saying Nigeria actually spent money to put tracking devices on ships that are exporting crude oil, so that we can have data and also track those ships to wherever they are taking crude oil to. We have spent money on such technology here, but he said as we speak now, that technology is not working again. That it has stopped working. Nigeria spent money on that, technology. Maybe as government change hands or something, that technology just stopped. They just tell you that network or something happened.
Is it a problem of lack of monitoring and supervision, or what?
I said possibly there is an insider that is making this thing not to work. So once there's an insider that is a thief, that's just looking for how to
not a thief that has an interest. Let's follow it.
Okay, and has an interest. He has a personal interest, and then he goes and give outsiders information and say, when you follow the back, you carry this one, then give it. That's the problem we have. Even if you put drone now, if that insider is part of the committee that is planning to put the drone will work, but later it is that insider that will go and touch one thing and scatter that drone.
How can we change this mindset?
That is just where we are. The mindset of Nigerians to be patriotic, about their country, not to be selfish, to be mindful of everybody's interest rather than personal interest. We need to actually give strong orientation to Nigerians that if this country is better, it shouldn't be better for some set of persons. It should be better for everybody. It should be everybody's interest.
It should be national have my interest.
I should have your interest. Not just selfish interest. If me, I'm okay, everybody to.
I don't care what happened to others.
So we need to have a reorientation of our mindsets that let us put hands together so that Nigeria can work, well again. So that's where the problem is. And that's what we are facing insecurity.
I think in all sectors.
In all the sectors. Insecurity is not beyond the Nigerian security agencies, but possibly there is an insider somewhere that they need to actually fish out.
An invisible hand, kind of.
Invisible hand somewhere that they actually need to fish out to see that, they stop all these things.
All right.
That's where we see the light.
Okay, let's go to the resurgence of the almighty fuel queues. Recently, we began to notice and experience long queues at the fuel station, and a lot of people are suggesting that waiting patiently for the Dangote refinery to commence operation. Do you see the Dangote refinery as the answer to this unending queues in Nigeria?
Dangote refinery is not the answer, but is a means to the answer.
How?
Very good. It's not only Dangote refineries that we have in Nigeria as we speak. Nigeria has about 3 refineries. There's Edo refineries, another one coming up in Sokoto.
Are they working?
Edo refinery is working now.
Okay.
But it does not have crude.
So
Dangote refinery.
What are you saying?
Edo refinery is 100% completed, and I think
but no crude, so?
No crude to operate.
If no crude is as good as not working.
Then we have modular refineries. In fact, about more than 8 of them completed, but there's no crude to actually operate. So the problem is actually, giving crude to the local refineries. So Dangote is just one of those refineries that will give us that answer. But if Dangote refinery can start, Port Harcourt refineries can start, Edo refineries can start, the modular refineries that we have in Akwa Ibom and in other places can also start, then we'll have these products, everywhere. Like we have water everywhere. You can go to the stream and fetch water. So there will be no scarcity again. But now, Nigeria is still importing petroleum product, despite that we have refineries and we have crude oil.
So what is happening? What are the issues around all of this?
Well, I think
refinery.
We've seen the drama between the Dangote refineries and some other oil marketers, you know, not just in Nigeria, even all over the world, saying that Dangote refinery diesel is bad, this one is a good one, this one has sulfur, this one is good.
Are we sure they are not fighting him?
So we've seen a lot of drama, and I think the elders and the national elders of the country, they've actually spoken to them that they should tread carefully so that they don't wash dirty linens, you know, outside there. So we are just waiting. The federal government have said from October 2024, the local refineries will begin to get crude oil in Naira. We are doing countdown to October. It's just about 30 days or less.
And don't forget, someone reminded me yesterday when we were discussing about this topic and we mentioned Dangote refinery, and he asked me a question. He said, Madam Queen, can you remember how many times the commencement for the Dangote operation has been postponed? And recently, that the last time we were told that the operation will commence in August. When we approached August, it was shifted to September, and now we are in September. What is the way forward?
Yeah, we already know Dangote refineries is working, and this date of commencement is for PMS. Dangote has been producing diesel since January.
Okay.
And will I say about 90% of its production has found its way outside the shores of the country.
Not in Nigeria.
Not in Nigeria. There was a time Dangote announced that he will sell diesel at 900 naira. We never saw the price change from 1,200 despite that. So the price still remains the same. And I think it's in the news that Dangote refinery started producing all the crude he got from US and the little one that Nigeria, you know, he bought some from Nigeria at that time. I think about about 4 trips.
Reports had it.
Yeah, that he bought. And then he added from US. Those crude was used to produce diesel, and those diesel was sold in Europe. And we are still talking about importing diesel, you know, spending dollars and possibly paying subsidy, because I'm sure the landing cost of diesel too might be more than 1,200. But for the PMS, he has not been allowed to produce PMS. I think from the same crude, I don't know, I'm not a scientist anyway, but I think when you put the crude into the refinery, the diesel will come out, the petrol comes out, the aviation, this one and all that. It separates all those various petroleum products. But I think it concentrated more on a diesel. Possibly maybe they stored the remaining output that might produce fuel. I don't really know. I'm not a scientist, but I believe that once the refinery is working, there are so many products that come out of this crude oil.
Okay, can we also be wrong or right to say, to rule out the activities of cartel in the oil industry?
Yeah, is also in the news. Dangote is the 7th largest refinery in the world, and Dangote refinery has the latest technology. Dangote refinery was you know, constructed, or let me say, you know,
all those things were fabricated, created,
with
produced,
very recent technology. The oldest, will I say the oldest, I mean the youngest refinery among all the refineries in the world, I think it's about 1980 something, and Dangote is 2024. So Dangote has the latest technology to produce crude, one of the largest refineries, the 7th largest in the world. So the cartels knows that this man is coming to the market with something big, to have a very big cut from their own share. So yes, the cartels are also finding a way to see how to stop him or how to cause challenges for him so that he will not really cut into their own, you know, fair market share. But I think there's nothing they can do, because once a good thing has already come out, people will actually go for it. And moreover, there is a need for it, you know. So the cartels are there working behind the scene against him, which he has also said in the news. So, but I believe that with the strategies that Dangote has come to the market with, he can actually overcome them. It's just a matter of time. He'll be able to cut into the market. If
someone may raise an inquiry on how long can we continue with the fuel queues in Nigeria, what will be your answer or response to the person?
The fuel queues will continue until we start producing locally. Yes, because we are still importing, and the NNPC comes up with different stories at different times. We are tired of hearing stories. We are tired. Today they declare profit. Tomorrow they say they cannot pay what they are owing. Next tomorrow they say the landing cost of petrol is higher because of exchange rates, and all that. So the solution is actually for us to produce locally. Like the last time I was here, I said the removal of subsidy is not really the problem. But the problem is, after 1 year of removing subsidy, why are we still importing?
Why? That is a question every one of us is asking. We are all asking. Yeah. Why are we still importing fuel? Okay, quickly, because of our time. Recall that recently the government rolled out a policy of 50% rebate, where the NHIS and related programs are yet to be fully maximized because of the many issues in the value chains. 50% on health rebate, and if you look deeply into the activities of the NHIS, a lot of people have alleged that they are not getting value for their money. How do we think that this will be achieved quickly because of our time?
For the health sector, they are also part of the economy. They are also paying high NEPA bills or electricity charges. They are also paying, high increase in cost of doing their business, maintenance, and also the running, even the drugs. The price of drugs has also gone up. Some of them, when you go there, you order, maybe request for a particular drug, they say they don't have. You have to go and buy it outside and all that. So these are the challenges. They actually need that 50% rebate so that they can have more IGR. That 50% is like giving them allowance to spend out of their IGR to actually use it to run the hospital and also the health sector. So it's actually very important for them. It's a welcome idea. But the problem is that these facilities that enjoy this 50% are not enough to cater for the number of persons that need these services.
Okay.
So those are still going to the private hospitals and private health institutions. They still pay higher.
Okay.
And that's just where the problem is.
Okay.
So if government can extend it to also some private entities, so that more Nigerians can actually benefit in the subsidy that they will get. That
like
will
a
also be
PPP
good.
practice.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. In all of the above, as we round off, what would you do better, assuming you are the president, to better the lives of Nigerians?
Assuming I'm the president?
Yes.
Well, if I were to be the president, just like I said, number one, a president needs to be patriotic, have the interest of citizens at heart. Not that the president will be enjoying. President is, cruising the most expensive car in the world. President has a yacht. President has, a jet, a very brand new jet. And then the citizens are crying of hunger. The citizens are on the streets protesting.
But the president needs all of those for his operation to ensure that the economy or the country is moving as it is expected.
But he has the car that he was using now for the last 1 year. Did the car break down?
I don't understand. Okay.
All right then.
All right. Okay, and with that, we have come to the end of today's edition of your regular program, Business and Economy. The guest we have been speaking with is an economic analyst, Dr. Tunde Ogunsola. Dr. Ogunsola, I want to thank you once again for honoring our invitation to be on today's edition of the program.
It's a pleasure to be here again.
All right. And to you out there, our esteemed audience, we sincerely want to thank you for spending part of your time to join us on today's edition of the program. Join us again for more of our programming. I am Ile Emeche.